Hi, and welcome to Algebra 1 Open House with Mr. Shesman. My email address is shesmana@flbapps.net. If you need to get in touch with me, that is probably one of the easiest ways to do so, and I will see your email and reply to you. It's also an easy way to set up a phone conversation if we need to. So what I want to do during this video is do a brief overview of Algebra 1, the course that your child is taking. What are we studying? How are we studying it? What are some of the big ideas? So let me jump in with this. What are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to figure out math from these major topics. First of all, we want to figure out how to talk math like a mathematician. We're going to use a common language. If you've ever been in a situation where people are speaking either technical language or maybe some people are speaking a language that you don't speak yourself, it feels really kind of uncomfortable. You don't know what's going on. And I don't want math class to be that way. I don't want someone to hear me use the word sum or quantity and be like, you lost me. You're speaking a different language. So we started this year by already figuring out how do we talk like a mathematician so we're all using the same common vocabulary. We're right now in the middle of solving equations and inequalities, a huge part of algebra. Linear equations, that's our next thing that we're going to be getting into, where we're talking about slope and graphing lines, y equals mx plus b, etc. We're going to talk about systems of equations, which is taking linear equations and saying, oh, one was good, let's try 2 or 3 lines instead. Exponent rules, which your students started working on while I was absent for a couple days. And then finally, we'll end with polynomials and hit some statistics things as well. Now, as we do all of those topics, my goal is to have every problem approach it in one of 4 ways. And with each problem, try to approach it in each of the 4 ways. So the 4 ways that we're going to approach math are tables, graphs, verbal, and algebra. Algebra is the one that most people think of when they think of math class. That's your equations, solve for x, or y equals mx plus b. But verbal is how do you explain the math? It could be describing your answer, giving context to a solution. It could also mean being able to describe what you see using words. So in this case, a graph is increasing. A graph is increasing, meaning the graph is going up. It has positive slope. Tables is where we get raw data. We know the x and the y coordinates, and then the graph gives us a pictorial representation. As often as we can, we try to look at every type of problem through each of these 4 prisms. Those are my 4 approaches to math that we'll do in algebra. Now, that's what we're going to do. The other question that people often want to know when we're doing an open house is, okay, that's what you're going to learn. How are you going to grade things? And so we have 3 categories in the math department, and every algebra class follows the exact same breakdown for the grades. Tests are going to be 55% of the grade, in-class work, checkpoint quizzes, projects, warm-ups, exit tickets, another 30%. And then homework is 15% of the grade. Now, when it comes to the test, that's the largest category. I'm never going to give a pop test. I'm always going to warn a day or 2 ahead of time. We're going to review the class period beforehand. I'm going to give you a test review sheet. I usually, 95% of the time, I post the test review sheet online, the answers, so that a student can check it out at home. So if you know that your student maybe is not a great test taker, make sure that if there's a test, that you're having them check their answers online ahead of time to the test review. And if they're struggling, if you can help them, great. If not, that's a cue that they need to talk to me and get help in the morning. And the great thing about having Algebra 1 first period, I'm in the room first period before the test. So if your student gets to school 10 or 15 minutes early, we could go over the questions they missed in the test review before class even starts. In class work, every day we're doing something. Oftentimes it's going to be graded, 30% of the grade. And then homework, I'm not one of those people who likes to give a ton of homework, but I do think it's essential to supplement, to complement what we're doing in class. It's to get that extra practice to cement what we're learning. Okay, we're really trying to take what we did in class and make it part of our long-term memory. Now, I do not do tonight's homework is 1 to 100 all. Absolutely not. Okay, when I do the homework, I want it to take 5 or 10 minutes. I'm not trying to make anybody's life miserable. I'm just trying to get that extra help. I generally check it for completion and effort. I tell students, if it's just a list of answers and you were supposed to show work, I'm not giving you credit because you didn't show the effort. Okay, I want to see that you did it the way that we were talking about doing it in class. If a homework is not done on time, it can be turned in the next class late for some partial credit, which I always recommend. I will not accept it late, definitely after the test for that unit. So if we finish unit 1, we're in the middle of unit 4, I'm not accepting a homework assignment then. Now, homework is 15% of the grade, so it's super important to do it. If a student got every point on every test and on every quiz, but didn't do a single homework assignment, it would drop their grade from 100% to an 85, from an A plus to a B minus. But here's the thing: if you don't do the homework, you're not going to get all the other points because we're not cementing that learning. We're not getting that practice. So homework is about getting a chance to try something on our own before we're trying it on the test. If you're trying a problem for the first time on the test, life's going to be a little bit rough. So that's why I give homework. There is an online textbook. I think poweralgebra.com will still take you there. There's a more updated version that just happened, so I didn't get that updated on this PowerPoint, but it is in the syllabus, which is on my Google Classroom page. Your student has access to it as well, and login information is presented in the syllabus. Also note that every day I take the notes that we do together in class. I also take the test reviews, as I mentioned earlier, and I post them to Google Classroom. So if a student is absent for any reason, if your son or daughter misses my class, by the end of the day, I will post the notes that we did, and they can already check them out. That's especially important this year where occasionally there's going to be longer absences because of COVID. So if that happens and you have to miss either because of COVID or you have a fever and you don't want to come in, guess what? Take the notes online, stay with us. Let me know, and I can let you know if there's anything else that you needed to do from that day, if you want to work on it from home. Otherwise, when you return to school, the stuff will be in the absent folder up at the front of the classroom so that your student will not be behind or miss any of the material. Okay, if we're talking about the big ideas for our class, first of all, attendance and effort. If we can be in school as much as possible, that really helps. I know things will come up, especially this year, and when that comes up and you can't be in school, that doesn't mean that we just shut down and we don't learn. It means we are attentive. We're doing the work that gets sent home. That's part of attendance. I consider doing the work that I give you for makeup work as part of attendance. Effort's huge. If you give me 100% effort as a student, I believe good things are going to happen. The theme of our class is this, and this is so important to me. We want to learn to improve our thinking process. At the end of the day, I recognize that many of these students are never going to have to factor a trinomial. They might never FOIL. They might not solve a system of equations for the jobs that they want. But I believe sincerely that they're going to have jobs that are going to ask them to be able to think critically, to be able to analyze information, to be able to communicate the results of a study. And if that's the case, what skills in my class will help them with that? Well, the skill is going to be learning how to think in different ways, learning how to persevere when something is tough the first time. Those are the lessons that translate beyond Algebra 1, beyond Algebra 2. That's going to take you a whole lot further. So you're going to hear me say to your students a lot this year that we want to improve our thinking. That's going to make us better. In every unit, one of the things I do is I talk about how we're building new pathways, new brain patterns that are going to extend beyond our class. And again, the last big idea, I want to mention it one more time, is Google Classroom. If your student's a member, you also will be able to have access. And in Google Classroom is where I post so much information. It's also where you need to be able to go if we ever have to shut down the school for a limited period of time. We will transition our instruction to Google Classroom. If you have any questions, let me know. Remember that you can sign up for a parent-teacher conference, virtual parent-teacher conference in November. I'd be happy to meet with you then. So far, everyone's been doing such a great job in Algebra 1. Really excited to teach this group of students, and I believe that we're going to learn a lot and that our thinking processes are going to be much improved by the time we hit the end of January. Thanks and have a great night.